Hi, people. Yeah, so today I want to address quite a number of things. I recall this week, I don't know if it's last week, there was something that somebody talked about. We were having a conversation, and this is pertaining to one of the projects that he wants to start running. It's like one of his clients told him to say, well, he wants him to build for his client a guardhouse. Yes, a guardhouse. So as we were conversing, he was looking for people to use, the laborers, the bricklayers that were going to help him in actualizing that vision or that dream for his client. And so as the conversation went on, we talked about quite a number of things. And one of the things we talked about was payments or salaries for workers or the laborers that you're using. And most contractors, of course, okay, this can also apply to other entities or other companies or whatever. But mostly, from the small experience I have had in the construction industry, is how you determine how much you're going to pay somebody. It depends on the value they are bringing to the project or to the company. Not necessarily dependent on how much you feel like you're supposed to pay them or give them. Well, of course, that can come into play if the finances are very, very strained. But ultimately, you have to look at the value that this individual is bringing into the company or to the project. So for example, if let's say you know that somebody is a very, very good bricklayer, you know you can rely on them, you can leave them, go out, find they've done an excellent job. Then you have to look at their work and you look at their input into the project to say, okay, if this person was not around, how would things have been running? If this individual can do such good work, I need to have this person around. So definitely you have to pay them enough to keep them there. Not to exploit them, but you have to keep them well. And that is by paying them good monies that will make them feel like you treasure them or you consider their input to be very, very valuable. So mostly when people complain about, no, I can't pay this one this much, I can't pay this one this much, I can't pay this, that, then it's better you let go of those people. Let go of them if they do not bring value to your workplace, to your company, or to the project. Because at times it's very, very unfair, especially on the part of the person you've engaged to do some works. If you're going to use them, and all you think about is, let me get 90% from this. Then this 10% is for all these who are working for me. That's not fair. And you're going to frustrate your workers. And when workers become frustrated, you don't want to use them because they're going to do a lot of shoddy works that you later regret and say, wow, why did I engage these people? But at times, these people are not really doing a bad job, but they are frustrated because of how much they are being paid on that project. So when you engage a laborer, be it a carpenter, be it a welder, be it any tradesman or craftsman, make sure you pay them well so they can feel appreciated and treasured, so they can come back and work passionately on your project. I recall there's a construction company that a certain gentleman I know of, I think it's still operating. It's still operating today. So this construction company is very big, and so I always wondered how there are certain tradesmen within his team that have stayed with him for years. Because I recall, I think there was a very good steel fixer steel fixer, stroke welder. This guy, excellent guy, knows the work, does very good structural roofing frames. Then there was also a carpenter, one of his carpenters, excellent guy, knew how to fix doors, knew how to even put together all these structural roofing timber members and whatnot. There was also another very, very good bricklayer. And he also had another excellent, should be, I think that was his site engineer, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, the guy would also play as a clerk of works. So this man, the gentleman, the one of the company, I asked him to say, how have you managed to retain all these guys? How have you managed to keep these guys to keep working for you? Because you've been with them for a while. 70% of construction companies that I know, all the employees run away after a year or two with that company. But then this man has been in business for more than 10 years and he's still kept this team. And there's one thing he said, he just said, well, I pay them well, that's why. So I was like, how much do you pay these guys? And I was amazed. Then some of his workers, in fact, their salaries were, I wondered to say, I think it was his, should have been his steel fixers and welder. We're getting more than people I know who are working in offices. And I wondered to say, I think that's why he's able to keep this team together, because he knows the value these people bring into his company. And so what he does is he keeps them well, takes care of them, makes sure they don't complain about money. Because most times, ask anybody, laborers, tradesmen, craftsmen, what they complain about the most is money. And if you're not paying your laborers well, they will run away. So pay people according to the value they bring into the company or to the project. If you pay people well, I can assure you they won't run away. They'll work with passion, they'll do their best, they'll put in the work, and you won't complain. So please, make sure, pay them very well, and at times, you have to weigh the opportunity cost. Is it better for you to gain 80% of the profits of the monies and give people 20% and you lose good employees? Then the next time you employ other people maybe who don't even know how to do the works, ruin your business because all you wanted was 80%, or you get a 50%, then the other 50%, of course, is paid to these people. But next time they still do a good job. And that good job, they recommend you. The client recommends you to say, oh, this person did a good job, has got a very organized team, they're excellent workers, and they recommend you for another job. But now, because you want to keep all the profits, you want to take the lion's share, you lose out on business, because almost each and every individual you're bringing into the company keeps on messing things up. So pay your workers well. Look at the value. Value is very, very important. Don't look at, I'm going to remain with 10%, I'm going to remain with so much. No. Look at the value that this individual is bringing into your business. Then you can now say, okay, let's negotiate. How much do you want? How much do you want? How much do you want? Yeah, of course, okay, even on the employee side, it's also important that you negotiate for what you want. Don't negotiate for the purposes of, maybe I'm not going to be given this job, maybe I'm not going to be given this. No. Negotiate for the amount you feel like you're worth, or you feel like you need to be paid. Then that way things will even work well. Unlike you accept or you negotiate for a small amount, and then you start complaining later on. I'm not being paid, I'm not being doing this. No. Stick to the contract. Stick to what is written. Yes. Yeah, so I think that was I would say one of the interesting conversations I had with my good friend. Yeah, he seems to be doing fine. Yeah, and which brings me also to there's this other thing that especially this is for new people who are entering the construction industry as contractors, because I think almost on a daily basis there are construction companies being formed. So just maybe a few tips as you are starting out your construction journey. So when you are awarded a job, for example, you are awarded a contract, you are awarded to build whatever, be it if it's drilling a borehole, if it's building a manhole, septic tank, whatever, an office, a house, a stadium. When you're just starting, what you need to do is you need to plan. You plan how you're going to execute your works. This is for people like this is their first time to enter into the construction industry, to have a job. And so you're just starting out and you want to execute the works. You want to start your journey into construction. So what you do is, when you're awarded everything, the site has been handed over, you've now taken possession of the site. What you need to do is, you need to firstly plan the works. And so how you plan the works is by coming up firstly with a cash flow projection, coming up with a program of works, coming up with a methodology. So a methodology is where you explain how you are going to do all the works as stipulated in the contract or in the bills of quantities. So how are you going to mix your concrete? How are you going to lay your blocks? Which personnel, which individuals are you going to engage in doing all those processes? The plumbing works, the electrical works, all those things. So your methodology must explain every process of the project. Yes, so you can say, okay, for excavations, we're going to use this equipment. For laying concrete, we're going to do this, that. We're going to test the concrete. We're going to have the cubes to be tested. We're going to allow for the concrete to cure for this much. This is all those things. You list them in your methodology. So after you list them in your methodology, then you have your program of works. So your program of works now, this is where now you indicate how long you're going to take to do that project. And of course, you're going to list your items. So for example, if let's say you start with excavation, you say, okay, excavating will take us a week. So if let's say you're going to come to now your laying of concrete, okay, concrete, so much days. Roofing, so much days. Plumbing, metalwork, all those things. You list them down as your chart is also forming up the side, as your schedule is also coming up. So if the project is going to take you 3 months, you know that, okay, these activities are going to be done within the first month, these ones second, these ones third. So that's your now program of works, or your work schedule, or your construction schedule. Yes. At times, you may be required maybe to also prepare what is called the mobilization schedule. So in the first, be it 14 days or 7 days, if that's your mobilization period, you prepare a mobilization schedule, how you're going to mobilize, how you're going to bring about equipment, what things you're going to procure, all those things, you put them in your mobilization schedule. Those things are very important. Yes, if you want to run your project very smoothly. I know some people might say, no, we don't need those things. All we need is just to start work. Yes, starting work is important, but if you want to do things orderly, you need to have these things in order. You have your program of works, you have your methodology, then you have your cash flow projections. So now your cash flow projections, mostly, these help you in managing your finances on the project. So what happens is, cash flow in itself, I'm sure in layman terms or in basic terms, cash flow in itself means money coming in, money going out. So what you're basically showing is, you're showing the money that's coming in. So if you're going to be paid, let's say, an advance payment of 25%, you put to socket 25%. Then in the first month, the cash flow projections should be in line with your program of works. So if your program of works says in the first month you're going to do maybe 30% of the work, so you project to say, okay, what's 30% of the contract sum? If you're going to maybe get a loan from the bank, you're going to get monies from other sources, you include those sources or those monies into your inflow, or the money that's coming, or where you're going to get the money to finance the project. So now, of course, if let's say you're going to get it from the advance payment, so it's over 25%, you put it here. So then you say, okay, in the first month we're going to do 30% of the work. So 30% of the work, you get it from the contract sum, you put it there. If in the second month you're going to do 60% of the work, you do likewise. Third month, if you're going to do 40% or 20% of the work, 10%, you do likewise. So you're projecting to say, okay, this is how the project will be moving, and this is how the finances will be moving. So if let's say we are paid this much, we'll use this much. If we're paid this much, we'll use this much. You even put also your preliminaries, your materials, yes. So the materials, labor, transport, plant and equipment, those things come now in what we call outflow, cash outflow. So you have your cash inflow, then you have your cash outflow. So your cash outflow now is the money now you are going to be spending, or money that will be going out of your company. It's not complicated, it's very straightforward. Yeah, so it's money that will be going out of your company. So when you have that, you prepare all that, okay, to say, okay, my materials for these 3 months, we're going to spend this much. For plant and equipment, we're going to spend this much. For labor, we're going to spend this much. Then after you find the totals now, then you subtract from the inflow. Then you see to say, okay, at the end of this project, this is how much we're projecting, and this is how much we are going to get from this project. So all those are very good when you're planning or you're starting out your project. Now, of course, as a new person, these things might be challenging to prepare, but you can ask for help. You can ask construction professionals who know how to do these things. Preferably, quantity surveyor can help you come up with all these things, or a civil engineer, yes, or a project manager. All these things can be prepared. If you do these things and you follow them very, very well, you're going to run the project very, very smoothly. You won't have to worry about anything. Yes. Then one other thing is also have a very good site engineer or clerk of works on site. Yes. Now, a site engineer or clerk of works, this is somebody who is going to monitor the activities that are happening on site. And of course, this individual can give advice at times. Or if you're the one handling everything, you can even tell that clerk of works or site engineer to say, no, make sure everything is done up to standard. If they're not doing anything, tell them to stop here. I will come and advise, or tell them to do things in this way. Follow the standards, do this, do that. A site engineer or a clerk of works is very, very important, because what happens is you're not always going to be on site. Well, if you do other businesses or you do other things, yes, you're not always going to be on site. But if you are a person who's always going to be on site, that's where you're going to be spending most of your time, depending on and whatnot. Well, yes, you can be on site and guide here and there. But if you do not have any construction knowledge, you don't have any construction background, it's very important that you have somebody who's experienced on site. Yes, somebody who is able to report and take all these things I've listed here, the cash flow, the program of works, the methodology, who's able to understand these things and interpret them very well. You need that person on site. That way, things will run smoothly and you're going to finish everything on time, according to quality and within the budget. So have a very good experienced site engineer or clerk of works. That way, this person is going to be reporting to you and you're going to be monitoring the site well. Yes. And because that person has experience, they'll even be writing reports to you to say, okay, at this point, we've reached here, and there. At this point, okay, maybe we'll need so much materials. Those are things you need to take into account, especially if you're a new construction professional or a new contractor. Yeah. So those were quite some interesting conversation I had with I think most of my friends, especially this guy who wanted to really join the industry. In fact, he says he had opened up a company, but it's like he didn't know how to go about certain things, and so I had to explain those things. Yeah, those things might seem so theoretic, but if they are not just left in the office and they are implemented on site, you will do a very good job. Yes. So yeah, I think this is it. I have to go now. The weather is quite okay today. Yeah, even though it's cool, it's very cool, but the sun seems to be helping us a little bit. All right, guys. See